Alright, well, since Elder Scrolls 6 is officially cancelled, this is once again a Starfield channel. If you don't like that, the button is right there, buddy! Don't let the door hit you on the way out, okay? So, I thought I would take this opportunity to tell you why I love the game and how you can enjoy it. The metaphor I would use for Starfield is that it's kind of like getting into a pool. And it's a little cold at first, but if you keep swimming, you're going to start to like it. So let's set your expectations here. What is Starfield? It is a cozy game, it is a quiet game, and we'll talk about how it is deliberately understimulating and talk about enlightenment. And I'm not going fucking crazy here. I'm going to talk about enlightenment as a way of talking about how you should engage with Starfield. Bethesda has a penchant for giving you the things you need immediately. Oblivion, they give you the most powerful item in the game in your inventory the moment you start the game. And if you're thinking, is it the Amulet of Kings? Because you don't get that till later. No! It's the wrist irons. The wrist irons are the only piece of clothing in the entire game you can wear on your wrists. Later on in the game, when armor becomes useless, the most powerful build you can have involves enchanted clothing. You find a sigil stone, you put a shield enchantment on it, and so the wrist irons become like the last piece of Exodia for Oblivion. So keep that thing on, Klingon. In Fallout 4, they give you access to power armor again almost immediately. You're going to get your Pip-Boy early on so you can have access to VATS, and after that they're going to give you power armor because the game is pretty hard without it. And then of course Skyrim, early on you're going to get access to Dragon Shouts. It becomes like the key mechanic in the game that allows you to, be powerful and enjoy your power fantasy. Starfield is no different. They're going to give you one of the most important items in the game immediately, and that is the laser cutter.
Dusty, you're up. Grab a cutter and mine what you can.
The laser cutter opens up one of those classic mechanics in a Bethesda game that you can basically just ignore if you'd rather play the game where you're shooting everybody. And at first, it kind of seems like a worthless weapon. But over time, if you invest in the lasers perk tree, you unlock this 4th level perk that gives you a 5% chance to set targets on fire. 5% doesn't seem like a lot, but when you understand that the laser is basically counting 60 or 70 hits per second, and you assume that 1 out of every 20 hits will proc a fire, you basically set a target on fire 3 times per second. Opponents on fire take percent health damage, which basically means that the higher their health pool, the quicker they die. You just melt people. Terramorphs? They're the biggest baddies in the game, right? Nothing kills them faster than the laser cutter once you have this perk unlocked. You also have unlimited ammo with the laser cutter, so while there are still situations where another weapon might be more fun to use, you can essentially play this game with nothing but the laser cutter. You can get it, invest in the 4 perks, and then just go about your business with no ammo, no guns, no nothing. The thing is, this is not a game that wants you to just go kill everyone. To me, Bethesda made a game where you're going to play the story and kill everyone and do all the missions. But over time, and especially after going through the Unity and doing the New Game Plus thing, I think they want you to lose interest in all the killing. There have been times where I slaughter like 100 aliens on some random planet, and I look around and I think about the American buffalo, the bison. And I've never had that experience in a game. To me, and I'll get to this in a minute, the most important thing that's happening in Starfield while you play it is not what's on the screen. It's what's going on between your ears. It's the inner experience you're having as you play it, the way your habits change as a player over time. I think what they really want you to do is be curious about the universe and humanity's place in it, and it's a slow process that happens over time as you play it. To me, Starfield has kind of been like a long form of meditation, and you can really make fun of me for saying so, but I truly mean it. When you're exploring, which is the main thing you're supposed to do in the game, you switch to the hand scanner, and you automatically equip your laser cutter when you do so. Once you have the lasers perk, you can just walk around any planet, farm resources, cook aliens, harvest their goop, and basically just hang out. But while the laser cutter is certainly important, what's probably more important than the laser cutter is your ship. For some reason, after only just meeting you, Barrett gives you his ship. Makes no sense, it's weird writing. I think it would make more sense if Barrett had been taken hostage and then a crew member escaped alone and said, "Someone has to go save him, OMG, the Crimson Fleet took him, what do we do? I can't go back there, I have PTSD, they killed everybody, OMG, what do we do?" And then, you go and you take the ship and you get to be the hero, and then for saving his life, he gives it to you. But instead, he just gives it to you anyways, which is super weird. Anyway, that's the game. You have a spaceship, you have a laser cutter, you get a watch for some reason, and then you can just go anywhere. This is not a random skybox. I chose to land here for this view. I needed vanadium to construct positron batteries, and I flew to this planet and landed here where I could see there would still be sunlight while I mined, and also saw I'd be facing this ringed planet, and I was delighted by the view while I vibed out and spent probably, 20 or 30 minutes just chilling and blasting lasers at a rock. Vanadium and positron batteries are not things I cared about or was interested in when I first started playing Starfield. Took me over 300 hours before I took a single perk in the science tree. But over that time, I've come to see that Starfield really is a game for everyone. It has everything you could possibly want. When you want some combat, you can play a bounty hunter simulator. When you want to be creative and build ships, you can go do that. When you want to stretch your brain and build a supply chain, you can do that. And when you want to just chill out and enjoy the view while mining some vanadium, you can also do that. So, to me, Starfield at times is a deliberately understimulating game, serving a crowded gaming market full of people who basically all have brain rot. This is a game that wants you to be interested, not just in it, but in the universe and how things work and where things are going. It's not a game that's going to jam blast your yam hammer with dopamine every 6 seconds. It's a slower burn, and that's a good thing. That is the game they were trying to make. I'm going to talk about Starfield and Enlightenment in a minute here, but I think it's worth mentioning that people came from Fallout and Skyrim with expectations for what this game would be. Those two games, Fallout and Skyrim, are just bursting at the seams with things happening around every corner. There's ghouls over here, super mutants over there, clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right, here I am, and there's a dragon again. Starfield is not like that. Starfield is a totally different game. It's not trying to be the most stimulating game on the market. Instead, Bethesda made a grounded space game with no super sentient aliens, where they really spent a lot of time thinking about what life might look like in a few hundred years. What would a space outpost look like? What are the airlocks going to look like? What do they sound like? What do the buttons and dials on a spaceship do? And you play it and you think, nothing's happening. It's kind of quiet. And that is the point. That's the game they tried to make. That is the overview effect. And they nailed it. Here's the overview effect.
So what happened was that the first thing that happened was that I had the experience that led to coining the overview effect as a term. And that was an experience flying cross-country and looking out the window and having what I think was a mild experience of the overview effect, where I was imagining living in one of these O'Neill cylinders between the Earth and the Moon. And I thought, if I lived in a place like that, I would always have an overview of the Earth. I would see it from a distance. And I would see it's a unified whole, there are no borders or boundaries. All these things would be common knowledge, which, living on the surface, we find it very hard to philosophically grasp or mentally grasp. And the term overview effect came to me. I suppose one of the most important insights was that if we want people to understand the overview effect in a way that will lead to changes in their behavior, we have to have them experience it. Now, it's like Zen Buddhism. If you know anything about Zen Buddhism, every Zen master will say, Zen is beyond words. And then they proceed to talk about it, or they write books about it. So I really believe the overview effect is beyond words, and yet I'm now in the 4th edition of writing about it. But now we need to move beyond it, and one way to move beyond it is commercial space flight. Virgin Galactic, Blue Origin. NASA just announced, hey, come on up to the space station.
Yeah.
That's great. And another way is through virtual reality simulations, and there is a project that I'm involved in here working on that. And there are people all over the world who, whether they care about space exploration or not, they care about the Earth, and they're talking about how do we bring the overview effect down to Earth.
Let's talk about Starfield and enlightenment.
What are you talking about?
No, I'm not here to tell you I'm some internet Buddha who's achieved nirvana. The point I want to make is that enlightenment is not a destination. I think people think about enlightenment like it's some inaccessible spirit realm for the privileged few, but that's really not what it's about. It's not a destination. It's more like a pathway and a way of being, and everyone has access to it. You don't have to be in a church or at a Burger King to have a spiritual experience, but you can certainly have one wherever you are. It's an innate inner experience, and you can have it if you open yourself up to it. It's sort of like doing push-ups. You might only be able to do a few at first, or you're doing push-ups on your knees while you build up the strength to do a full push-up or whatever. Meditation is a lot like that. Mindfulness is really just a muscle you're building. You're working on your awareness, and if you keep up the practice, you move forward on the scale of enlightenment in the sense that you feel enlightened, as in literally, it feels like the weight you carry is a little lighter than it was before. But there's no end to it. It's not a destination. You don't wake up one day and you've made it and you can stop living a normal life. And just because you achieve some level of awareness doesn't mean you've transcended reality or whatever. Nothing outside of you changes. It's an inner journey. It's like a great unfurling and an opening up. A classic Zen saying that I really like is, before enlightenment, chop wood and carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood and carry water. What it's getting at is that it's not your outer experience that changes. It's your inner experience of those outer experiences that changes. That, to me, is enlightenment. And again, you don't have to buy some course or chant for 14 hours in a temple on a mountain somewhere to have it. The awareness is already inside you. And while having a teacher is certainly like a good gateway to it, you don't need one. You know, you can kind of practice this all on your own. It's pretty cool. So what the hell does this have to do with Starfield? Well, to me, as I said earlier, the most important experience you're going to have when playing Starfield, ideally, isn't happening on the screen. It's happening in you. If you give yourself to the game and open yourself up to it, you might be surprised by what you find. To me, Starfield is like a gateway. You know, pondering long silences and listening to the quiet hum of some hunk of machinery are par for the course when it comes to spiritual experiences. I find that I'm more present in my day-to-day life after spending some time in Starfield. I'm sure that's probably a funny thing to hear someone say when you compare it to the laundry list of critical Starfield videos online, but I don't know how else to put it. I get that it's hard to sell someone a game as a gateway to spiritual experience, and I'm really not surprised that a lot of gamers aren't open to having one. But with all that said, in a lot of ways I consider myself the ideal Starfield player. Because I started the game just shooting bad guys and looting stuff and blasting people into dust. But then over time, I got less interested in all that, and more interested in the world around me. And not just the virtual worlds around me, but the actual world I live and breathe in. At its core, Starfield is the story of humanity and what it might look like after Earth is gone. In Starfield, humankind has taken a sort of Faustian bargain, trading away the Earth for the tech they would use to settle the stars. I think the main feeling you're supposed to have while playing is that it wasn't worth it. That the Earth, the real Earth, is precious and fragile and interconnected and totally alive. Much more alive than any of the 1,000 planets in Starfield. Because in reality, that's really what it's probably like out there. It's probably quiet. There's probably not a lot going on. And you should feel while you're playing at some point that the Earth is precious, so precious, and that we're really very privileged to live here. That's what the overview effect is about, and that, over time, is what Starfield wants you to feel, in my opinion. I think that's what Bethesda ultimately wanted you to feel while playing this game. And you can tell it weighs on them a little bit, that Starfield didn't really hit that way for a lot of players. But I still believe in the game, and I think it'll come around, and I think it'll have a sort of critical reimagining from players over time. But only if players are open to it. So, how do you enjoy Starfield? With a good pair of headphones and your phone set to Do Not Disturb. Anyways, thanks for watching. If you got this far, what are you waiting for? Go play Starfield. Just give it a couple 100 hours and see if you transcend reality through deep spiritual experience. Come on. You know you want to. Okay, thanks. Bye-bye.